Hello and welcome to another of my monologues. Today I want to talk about the drip need to repeat stuff. People have often asked me, Richard, why do you talk about the same stuff? Sometimes you repeat yourself, you say the same thing. I think this is very important to do, and I'll tell you why after this. I just want to draw your attention to the annual conference on the 22nd of February 2025 of Public Child Protection Wales. These are the lovely people who've been pushing back against the tyranny of schools, state schools, teaching sexualization to children. Terrible things, including telling children about masturbation and other rather grim things. They have their first annual conference with a number of fascinating and interesting guest speakers. You can see on this graphic here, there's quite a lot of them. And it's going to be held on the 22nd of February 2025 between 10 a.m. and 4:30 near Newport, South Wales. Tickets £5. There is a buffet available as well, options on there. That's Public Child Protection Wales. They're pushing back against the tyranny of the curriculum in schools, and I think it's absolutely very much important. So if you can support them, that would be fantastic. So back to me and the drip message. As I say, people have said to me, Richard, you know, they send me loads of videos and say, why aren't you talking about this? And why aren't you talking about that? And why aren't you talking about the other? And you see, the reason I'm on YouTube and not on Rumble or on Odyssey or the myriad now of other different platforms, TikTok and all of these. This is and although I'm demonetized, and thank you very much to everybody who does donate and keeps the channel going and supports what I do, that is very, very important, and I really appreciate it. The reason I'm here on YouTube is I discovered, as I started to talk about what's going on in the world, that actually this is kind of a stepping stone as people move away from mainstream media and they're looking to find out what's going on in the world, that there's a sort of process where they go from, let's say, you know, the suited and booted, all very nicey, comfortable people on the BBC who are giving you a false narrative or a very biased narrative. And then you get some of the extreme and hard-hitting stuff on places like Rumble and all the others that we've got there, Odyssey and various things, and some people are just not ready for that transition. And so the reason that I position myself on YouTube and talk about a range of subjects like the legal fiction, like the 5G, like the chemtrails, like the curriculum and the sexualization of children, is that it's, and the reason I continue to talk about those things and repeat those things and remind people that the sky is being sprayed, that there's going to be food shortages, that we need to eat from farm shops and not from supermarkets. We need to support farmers. The reason I stick to a number of those core subjects is A, they're very important. Yes, it's quite repetitive for long-term viewers, but I'm aware that new people are coming from mainstream stuff all the time. They're coming and they're going, I'm disgruntled. I don't now believe what the BBC say. I don't believe what Channel 5 says. I don't believe what the mainstream media is talking about. I think there's another agenda going on, but I can't quite work out what it is. Where do they go? And if I keep just getting more and more extreme and go into greater depths about what's going on, then they won't watch. And somebody said to me very early on when I was talking about the stuff I talked about, he said, you know, you're like the Alan Titchmarsh of the conspiracy area. You're sort of very affable and approachable, and you're not ranting and raving and telling everybody terrible things. And I do try to stay in that position. I think it's an important role. I'm not an expert on anything. And if I can, with my opinions, and say, I think something nefarious is going on. I think they're spraying the skies. I think that's poison. I don't think that going to the supermarket is such a good idea these days because of nutrient-free food, vitamin-deficient products. and all the other myriad of different fillers and emulsifiers and preservatives and hideous stuff that they're hiding in food. I don't think it's a good idea to send your children to state schools or even private, the big private schools, because I think they're being brainwashed. I think they're being developed in with a slave mentality to be good workers and not ask the relevant questions that people with common sense or critical thinking would ask. I don't think that it's a good idea to work for corporations because of all the tiers of authority in there. And again, what are you really doing? You're giving away your time for what? At the end of the day, a little carriage clock. Thanks very much for the 40 years that you've worked here and given away all your time. Now that you're decrepit and no use to us, you can retire. Oh, and by the way, everything that you buy will be taxed and we won't give you very much pension anyway. I don't think it's worth doing that. I think we're here to be creative. I think we're here to live as best we can. I don't believe that the government is on our side. I think they actually want us to be dead. I think they want to keep us in a low vibration, to keep us down. That's why all the policies seem to be anti-human. These are the messages that I feel are absolutely essential to people who are beginning to realize that the world is not quite what it was. And I get people sending me videos all the time, and they're quite horrific videos. I refuse to take the fear anymore. I don't want to hear about the fear. I don't believe that these wars in different countries are quite how they say they are, or that they are not natural things. Who wants to go to war? That we know, really, don't we, that these are manipulated. They're all run by the people funding them. The people who get the benefit out of them are the bankers, not the people fighting. And that's been the case with most of the wars, it seems to me. It's been a way of culling the population. And anybody, in my mind, anybody who joins the forces just seems a little bit dim, surely. Now, I'm not being insulting, but ultimately you're potentially putting yourself to go into a war you haven't asked for, to be shot at. Why would you do that? Why instead are we not uniting and pushing back against all of this nonsense and creating our own communities, which is wholesome, holistic, growing our own food, pushing away from all of those, taking back responsibility for our lives and not giving in and acquiescing to all these people who are trying to do us down. That's why the drip drip message is here. That's why I say the same old thing day in, day out, because every day somebody new will see the video. Somebody new will think, I wonder if that bald bloke with glasses is actually got a point there. I wonder if there is something nefarious going on. I don't care about the numbers. I'm demonetized now, so I don't care. I mean, I'd like to reach more people waking up, but it's not about the money. It's definitely about trying to sort of say, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? I may be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right, but we all have to do our bit to try and get back humanity to where it once was, where we were able to think for ourselves, to use our common sense and be nice to one another and to love our neighbours. What's happened to this country, this world, has not been our fault. We've been manipulated and pushed down a path that we should never have been. And we've allowed those horrible people, the dark forces, the sadanic ones, the narcissistic, those to take away our ability to think for ourselves. Well, it's time that we took that back.